ultimately the most important form of self-interest is to have rules of law. It's about time we had a global public domain. Let's have institutions, practices, and rules that holds the marketplace, the military, and the mavericks responsible and accountable for their actions. And if those actions result in the injury, hurt, or violations to other people, then they must pay a price. The book we have today is not just a book about the Ogoni people. It's a book that really speaks to what all of us are going to face in the future unless we get those rules in place. Therefore, it's a good book to ponder.
Well, Dr. Owens-Wiwa, I'm delighted to be talking with you because you have had such an amazing life. Your brother, your older brother Ken, an amazing life. We're at the 10th anniversary of his execution. And that, I can only imagine, would be something that would be very difficult, perhaps more so as the years go on. In fact, I'll ask you what I asked Terry Fox's younger brother. Do you find as you get older and you become more experienced in life, and as we all gain wisdom and depth of understanding through the years, do you find that you in some ways feel closer to Ken as you age?
Yes, that is frightening actually.
Yeah.
Increasingly I find it a little bit challenging, to give way, to falsehood. And I recognize deception, very fast,
Yeah.
and I want to do something about it, to correct injustices and all that. That is frightening, considering that he was, really good at trying to correct injustices and then followed it up to his grave.
Absolutely. Tell me 3 things that he accomplished in his life that really impressed you, because the thing that amazed me about reading about his life in the book was he was so talented in so many areas. I mean, it was really quite remarkable. He could set up a grocery store and turn it into a prospering business. He could manage a government job. He could go and be an accomplished writer, a political activist. It was really remarkable.
I think the writing, the fact that he could write 29 books and then produced Bassi and Company, where he wrote, the comedy series.
I know.
Within a short time. I think that
BBC
was
Radio.
Really,
yeah.
Yeah, that was really remarkable. And also, the way he could really bring the name Ogoni, which is my ethnic group,
Yes.
into the world consciousness. People identify Ogoni, with struggles, and courage. And all that, and then he was a good father. Yes, he cared so much about his children.
Yeah.
Talked about them every time. The fact that he was not there with them at all time,
Yeah.
And I could really see in him, the frailty, if I should use that, that we all go through.
Yeah.
When you don't achieve one particular thing.
Yeah.
Being with the children, he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
But, he was drawn, by these forces, that was destroying our livelihood, by destroying our environment.
Tell us about the Ogoni and how he was really an activist. There was, Shell had come in to extract oil. And I think one of the things that's always interesting is that the corporations make arrangements with the governments. Yeah,
just to put it in context, when you mention government, many rational people will think about the sort of government you have here.
Right.
In the Western democracies, what we have, or what we had at that time in Nigeria, and in several other African countries, are not really government. These are cabals, of individuals, friends, or whatever, who by crook or by different means get to power.
Good point. It's not always on the up and up either.
No, and being in power, they are usually supported by these big companies,
right,
whose goal are
the resources.
The resources, either gold, diamond, or oil.
Yeah.
And they use this cabal, to protect them, or to abuse the people, so that they can go in and collect these resources without the barest care about the environment or about the livelihood of people who live there.
There was something that was shocking to me that when I was reading about it in the book, and that was for a number of the people that lived in the area that the exploration or the extraction of oil was going on, a lot of them would lose everything because the reverberations under the earth would literally collapse their houses or fracture the foundation if it was a cement house. And these were people that had very little. This was everything they had. All of a sudden it's wiped out, and they're saying, hey, how can this be happening? And people are kind of saying, well, that's really your problem.
Yeah, initially if you complain, you get arrested for complaining or you get beaten up. They do everything to make sure that complaints don't come or that you don't report anywhere. Ken's crime in this context was that he reported not just to the Nigerian authorities but to the world.
And he knew how to do it.
Yeah, he knew how to do it. And he was independent financially. So the combination, you know, of being a good communicator and he had the means, you know, to get the words out was a threat.
Absolutely.
So this arrangement between, you know, the transnational corporations and, quote, governments.
When we come back, I'm going to ask you about what it says, the fact that he was even arrested to start. And then I guess the question becomes, what responsibility do corporations have when they are indirectly, if not directly, enabling this sort of, you know, human rights abuses in other countries? So I'm going to ask you about that when we return. Please stay with us. There's more on Fine Print straight ahead.